Kaustubha Das here with the big announcement for Wisdom of the Sages listeners. This August will be Ashram Month at the Super Soul Farm. Simple ashram living, rising early, morning kirtan, yoga and pranayama, healthy vegan and vegetarian meals, farm seva and being immersed in nature, and then gathering in the evenings for kirtan and readings. Plus, each week we'll have a lead presenter teaching a different facet of the philosophy and lifestyle of Bhakti Yoga. Week number 1 will be the exceptional Bhakti Lata teaching a course called The Beauty of Bhakti, bringing the culture of love and devotion into our lives. Week number 2 is my brother from another mother, Raghunath, teaching Falling in Love with Divinity, the Bhakti-yogis method for opening the heart. And week number 3 is myself with a course called Following the Path, examining the history and teachings of Bhakti Yoga. You can come for 1, 2, or all 3 weeks, and the pricing is by donation. For more dates and information, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. Peace. Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, recovering from our Seva retreat. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm here live with the crew, with the posse. This is the wind down version of our last standing Seva posse here with Priyaji is here, and David Charles and Ariana is here. And Jeff, the naked Viking, he has all his clothes on today, but he's here. And then we have Catherine A., the handstand queen, is here. And Sandy Clemmer's here. Oh, my gosh. Everybody sort of left, and we're all exhausted today.
It seems a little wiped out.
We're all wiped out. I got enough sleep, but I just can't move my body.
Driving around that little boy tractor that you have.
Oh! My tractor's bigger than your tractor. And it hurts a man deep down, that tractor ego.
So you were told that your tractor wasn't manly enough today?
Yeah, I was. By my good friend Banjo Mike.
It seemed like a pretty powerful tractor to me. I don't know. What do I know?
If I'm a little boy, you're like a toddler of tractors.
I suppose so.
You're like one of those riding mowers. That's you. Right. We thought you'd have a good time at the Seva weekend.
Me?
Next time you come,
I would have loved to come. You didn't tell me about it.
You would have loved.
Maybe I knew about it.
Truthfully, you know what I tell you? Yeah. You know who was great? First of all, I got a really nice message from these very deep couple, Banjo Mike and Michelle Berger, this morning. But even though we were painting yesterday, and this, you gotta understand, there's 3 days of just like working. Jeff Eisenberg, the naked Viking, looks at me and just goes, Raghunath, you think we're serving you? We are serving ourselves. We're coming to this place. So many people come here. They take shelter here. We hear every day and we chant every day. It's like, this is so good for us to come and witness this. It was just such a beautiful gesture. When you get groups of people, if you want to get out of your ego, you get groups of people together with a common goal towards spirit, and it just changes us. We're all working together. It's like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, like, no blade of grass is like, hey, check me out. It's like the field of grass is what looks quite beautiful. It's just so beautiful to see everybody just working together. And, we're all taking shelter like a holy place.
Beautiful.
Inviting people here, hearing and chanting. I mean, you can't stop these people from hearing and chanting. On their time off, they're just picking up guitars or drums and just singing songs. I had to go to bed at 9:30 or 10, but it's like the Naked Viking led a crew outside and just was chanting by a fire all night. And it's just like, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to witness.
Wonderful, Raghunath. Sounds like a beautiful weekend. Seems like Mara participated a bit this weekend too.
I did.
Mara was there.
Did some painting.
First of all,
a lot of ladder holding.
She did a lot of ladder holding. Little Mara for giant Chris Pitt, who's 2 or 3 times my size, on this wobbly ladder, 3 stories in the air. I was like, oh, please don't fall. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. He didn't fall. He's like a ballerina up there.
Okay, Raghunath, we got to keep this
all
moving
right.
here.
Let's keep this moving. Hey, you know what today is? Not only Makeover Monday, a day to whatever happened last week, that's over. Let's move forward. It is Greek Week. Welcome to Greek Week, everybody.
Okay.
You know what Greek Week is? Greek Week is we do Greek philosophers,
Nuggets.
pontificators. Would you like to hear a Greek quote?
I would. Who's it from?
Socrates. Socrates.
Okay.
Socrates. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Whom do I call educated?
I don't know. Whom do you call educated?
You're Plato. I'll be Socrates. Ready? Okay. First, those who manage well the circumstances they encounter day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Next, those who are decent and honorable in their intercourse with all men, bearing easily and good-naturedly what is offensive in others, and being as agreeable and reasonable to their associates as is humanly possible to be. There's more. Okay. Those who hold their pleasures always under control and are not ultimately overcome by their misfortunes. Those who are not spoiled by their successes, who do not desert their true selves, but hold their ground steadfastly as wise and sober-minded men. That was good.
You like that?
This is who he considers educated.
That's right.
Purport by Kaustubha.
Well, let's share this purport. But it seems to me, here you're finding it's the same kind of wisdom that we find in Bhagavad-Gita or other texts, Bhagavatam, Upanishads, but just popping up in a different place, right? But this is samatvam, right? This is even-mindedness. This is a person that's not being... They have such an internal kind of solidness to them that no matter what's happening externally, it's not rocking them, right? So they can tolerate certain things that other people have a difficult time tolerating. What did he say? That they can... It started by saying they're decent and honorable in all their intercourse with all men, bearing easily and good-naturedly, right, what is offensive in others, and being as agreeable and as reasonable to their associates as is humanly possible to be. I think it's almost, we consider it fashionable to be kind of disturbed
nasty
all the time, right? Yeah, well,
nasty, disturbed, angry.
Yeah, it's
attitude.
like I'm always the victim. It's like I'm being treated this way, I'm being treated that way. Why is everybody doing this to me? And it's just like if I'm not there, then I'm not somehow valid or exciting or interesting or something like that. But this is, how did we get there? This is what we should be aiming for, right?
Mara, you're very agreeable.
Oh, very
I am?
much so.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think she's very agreeable.
I don't think I've
Is
ever
that
seen
one of
her
them?
Upset, disturbed.
Honorable in their
I've seen her tolerate quite a bit.
bearing easily and good-naturedly what is offensive in other beings as agreeable and reasonable. Yeah, you're very agreeable and reasonable.
Yeah. And then holding their pleasures always under control, right?
Yeah, I don't always do that one.
Okay. But your pleasures in bhakti may be a little different, though, right? Like, in other words, we strive to be this in terms of our material dealings. But when you get into your spiritual bhav, Raghunath, you can go ahead and dance like a madman.
Okay. Alrighty. They're not. I like this one. They're not spoiled by their successes.
Mhm.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's really easy just to get swept away by your good fortune. In the same way you get swept away by your bad fortune, and you can complain, and you can spin out of control, and you can get into the woe is me type of mentality. The successes can really sweep people away, and it's not just like that. You just feel, it's not like your ego is big, but you're acting on that ego. Then you're really just trying to take people for what you can get for yourself. And generally that's when like the breaking of, principles comes in, You're using people as objects. You're trying to, it's sort of me first and the gimmies, me first, my desires first, my sense gratification first. I mean, we might be people who have to do big things in this world, but if it's in the mood of service, like we talk about these Vedic kings, there's a dharma it's okay to be big. You don't have to play small. You might have to do big things in this world, but you can't. There is a dharma to that bigness as well. You become philanthropic. You work for the betterment of society at large, etc. They're not overcome by successes. I love that.
Yeah, they're not overcome by misfortune. They're not spoiled by successes. And then he wraps it up. Those who do not desert their true selves, but hold their ground steadfastly, as wise and sober. That's what the Gita calls that?
A sage of a steady mind.
That's right. What's the Sanskrit?
Stita di muni.
There you go.
We say that a lot on the show. Stita di muni.
Yeah. Sage of steady mind. There you go.
That was great.
All right. Little Socrates for you this morning.
Socrates.
Kick off Greek week.
Stole it all.
What is Greek? Is Greek week like a fraternity thing or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's when people rush the fraternities in college.
That means like they're recruiting people to be in the
Oh,
fraternity?
is that what it is?
Yeah.
And they're abusing them the whole time?
Isn't it weird that the Greeks
like
get all the
age
credit
limit.
for education? Give me a break. Why are the Greeks the ones who were educated?
He's complaining
They were
already.
while Greece was in its infancy, there was universities all over India.
Who says
Come on.
Who says they get all the credit?
Everybody. It all goes back to the Romans and the Greeks.
All right.
It's so twisted. Matter of fact, every time I hear this word Greek week, I'm going to be a little bit upset.
No, we're gonna try to bear easily and good naturedly this horrible offense.
Yeah, like they made up wisdom. Give me a break, Greeks.
Well, it's Greek week here.
Not in my heart.
Okay.
All right. Anyway,
We didn't have announcements.
Yeah, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today at 1 and 9:30. And then tomorrow evening for our Patreon members, Madhu is offering his course on balancing career and spirituality.
Balancing career and spirit. This guy's an industrious guy here.
He is.
Right? Running around doing stuff.
Yeah.
you're part of his. Yeah. Okay.
He's
Alrighty.
charming, isn't he?
Little
He's
charming.
got natural
Quite
charisma.
charming, Madhu.
Yeah, talented too. It's like
Multi-talented.
skills.
We're excited. I'm going to hang out with him. He's going to come up here for the Kirtan Academy weekend up here. If you're interested in learning
weekend is that?
Kirtan, I don't know. It's in July. Go to wisdomofthesages.com and click on Sage Academy for a little Kirtan experience.
Okay.
I think it's July 6th through 10th.
Okay. We're in debt. Alrighty.
Ready?
Carrying on. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will become established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Where are we at, Samara?
Hey, before we go there, I see that Chapu, she shared the Gita verse here, Raghunath.
Oh, kind of
You
call
were
that a
reading the
last-minute
chat board,
squirrel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a backwards squirrel.
Yeah,
It's
last-minute
flipping back.
squirrel. I'm saying prayers. We're all bowing down.
Gustuba's reading
I-
the chat board.
I saw it before we started chanting the prayers. I swear. I swear. I was deeply
was what he-
absorbed while we were chanting.
I was
those
going on.
mantras.
I was going on real-life squirrels yesterday. Like I'd go get like
You're
I had to go
actually
get a
chasing real squirrels?
No, almost real. Meaning I was going to get like a can of paint. Okay, go get the can of paint. Go get the can of paint. So I was, hey, Raghunath, I need this brush. And I'm walking over there, get the brush. And I start talking to somebody about something. And then that something leads me to something else. And I was like, 40 minutes later, I was like, what am I doing? I was like, I was getting a paint. That was 40 minutes ago. Real life squirrels, chasing squirrels.
Well, here's a Gita squirrel, right? Bhagavad-Gita 256. You see it?
Bhagavad-Gita 256. Give me a first word.
Well, I'm forgetting the Sanskrit. What is the Sanskrit for that?
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I don't even know that one. But Stita Dir Muni Uchate, I know the last line.
okay. That counts for
Right?
something.
But one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, all the miseries of life, or elated when there is happiness, right? So, or not overcome by miseries. How did Socrates say it? Not overwhelmed by the miseries, not spoiled by the successes, right?
Yep.
So one who's not disturbed in mind, even amidst the miseries of life, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the sage of steady mind.
All right. Okay.
Right, I'm glad.
They stole that directly from the
taught-
Gita.
Does it make you burn?
Burn those thieving Greeks.
Burns you up. Take that to your.
No, that's cultural appropriation. You know
Now
what?
hold it,
'Cause
bro.
you got to give credit. You got to give credit where credit's due.
Now hold it.
Like we can repeat this stuff. We got to give credit back.
Well, no,
the Gita.
but what about this? Do you know for a fact that he got that from the Gita? That Socrates was reading that, or somehow
I know
that
that
it was derived from that?
The Greeks and the Romans regularly had ships going to India.
Okay, that proves it.
That
He took it directly from the Bhagavad Gita. No, because I'm saying this because in our Oxford studies, we one thing that was mentioned was that if something's true, you expect to see it like popping up in all over the place. You expect people that are wise, people that are deep, they're going to come to that same realization because it resonates. It's true. So I'm not saying that he didn't directly appropriate that, swipe it, nick it, steal it from the Bhagavad Gita. But
remember we used to always say Nick. He nicked it.
nicked it. I
That
think
was
it's a
like-
British
It was
thing.
like 80s. Oh, was it? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a British thing.
All right, let's get on with this. Mara, what
All right.
text are we on?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 19.
Oh, I was right there.
Good
Right
for
there.
you, Rebecca. But are you sure you're in the right chapter?
Yeah, 20. I'm good.
Okay, good.
King Prithu abundantly worshiped the lotus feet. He abundantly worshiped the lotus feet.
He must have had some real enthusiasm. So whose feet is he worshiping here?
Lord Vishnu.
That's right. So Vishnu offered him any boon, and now he's worshiping him. And he's going to give his answer, what he wants.
Oh,
You
I
okay?
want a boon.
I want a bigger tractor than Banjo Mike.
Bigger. If I could have one wish. King Prithu abundantly worshiped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. Period. While worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in bhakti.
Okay. So his ecstasy, it doesn't mean he's just feeling good. He's actually experiencing these involuntary symptoms of ecstasy.
It's a real test of our character. If we were offered a boon, what would we ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's mentioning that this is Krishna's, it's something about how Krishna operates. Although he's omniscient, although he knows everything, he sometimes tests he knows their heart, right? But he's thrown this offering of a boon out there so that everyone could witness, right? Because, I mean, we're reading about it today. But remember all the people that were assembled there?
Yep.
You had just like all the universal leaders there. And he's turning to Prithu and saying, anything that you want, I'm going to offer to you right now. Go ask for it. And the purity of his heart, and again, this is what we're aiming at, right? This is what Bhagavatam, this is what all yoga is aiming at, is that entire purity of the heart. What Socrates is talking about, the ability to be able to tolerate easily offenses, the ability to not be spoiled by your successes, the ability to not be overwhelmed by miseries. It's purity of heart is what's going to help facilitate that, right? When you're not convinced that I need external things to be happy. And so, but Prithu's purity is even deeper than that. It's his love, his divine love is really manifesting. And so, in order to demonstrate that purity, Vishnu asks him, "Ask me for anything," and everybody gets to watch, and just see his sincerity. And he's like, "Well, what do I want from you? I don't want any, material thing from you. That's, this is out of love." And that's where Bhagavatam heads. That's what it points at.
Text 20.
Did we read the whole 19?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, we did, yeah.
Text 20. The Lord was just about to leave. The Lord actually also leaves, Kaustubha.
He comes. Well, he leaves and he stays at the same time, right?
And he stays, yeah.
Because he's everywhere.
Must be very sad when the Lord leaves. No!
So you're hanging on to Garuda's leg.
Hits me with the other wing. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined towards the behavior of King Prithu, he did not depart. Is that sweet? He loves his devotee so much he didn't want to leave.
You know what I want to do, Raghunath? I want to ask these scholarly devotees, the devotees that have read the Vedas and all of that, and Upanishads for that matter. I think especially the Vedas. But I'm wondering, in this progression of Vyasadeva's literature from the Vedas to the Upanishads, then Mahabharata, right, and Bhagavad-Gita.
Yeah.
Of course, in the Vedas, there's so much about prayers and hymns to the various gods and goddesses, and ritual being done, and also the gods and goddesses responding to the ritual or responding to the prayer, or sometimes responding to the austerities that others perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very common. It's throughout these books, but when you get to the Bhagavad Gita, and what to speak of Bhagavatam here, I'm not aware of any time before that where it's not just that the God, you'll be reading here's a ritual you do to perform to the god of fire, like Agni, right? And you offer something, and then the god of fire offers something back.
Mm-hmm.
But do we ever hear about the god of fire? The moon god, this god, that, Indra, do you hear about them being moved, personally touched, by these offerings? Or are they just kind of mechanically, in a sense, reciprocate? And not maybe even mechanically, but in other words, here it's like the Lord was moved by the devotion of Prithu. The softness in his heart, is there in Vishnu as well. And so it says that he's greatly inclined toward the behavior of Prithu, and it'll be more about how he's personally moved. We read about that in Bhagavad Gita, and we hear about that in Bhagavatam. But I'm wondering, is this where we first hear about it?
May I give my
Shani? I know Shani reciprocates with you.
Shani reciprocates. Yes, thank you. May I give my educated speculation on this?
Okay.
All jivas,
yeah,
reciprocate with love.
But is it love? That's my point. Are we reading about love in those other books?
No, it's probably. I mean, there is love with a capital L and love with a small L. We can love all living beings, but in the relationship with other living beings, there's always a little bit of give and take. The closest thing you have is like a mother and the child. You know what I mean? But in the real love with the capital L is between us and Lord Vishnu. So if you can love a rabbit and a baby rabbit, like who was just telling me about their baby squirrel? They had a baby squirrel from birth, and they were raised that squirrel, and they have this loving reciprocation with that squirrel. And so there is some love, but it's also based on their
Cuteness.
fulfilling my senses and cuteness and fairy tales and stuff like that. Whereas, so if a little squirrel, if you can have someone like reciprocal love with the squirrel, why couldn't you with Shani or Chandra
I get that.
or Indra?
What I'm saying is that what's being illustrated through these books, right? I'm not saying that Indra doesn't love or Agni doesn't love. But what I'm saying is these books are texts that are trying to help us understand things. And I'm wondering is if the first time we get to true love, or at least where it's really illustrated and framed, is it in these later books? And is what we're reading about before more mechanical dealings? There's dharma there and so on, but not like actually heart-melting love. Here's a verse from Bhagavatam, right? This is Lord Vishnu speaking.
Okay.
This is from 9th canto. And he says, do you know this verse? Sadhavo hridayam mayam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham, but anya te na janati, naham tebyo managapi. Have you heard that before? Does that sound familiar?
I've heard it, but I don't know it.
The pure devotee is always, this is Vishnu speaking, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. And I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Right? Like that's like spoken out of love, right? I can't think of anything but my devotee. My heart, my mind is captivated.
No, it's L with a capital bold,
capital L,
italicized L, right?
Yeah.
But let's
right.
just, I don't want to demigod bash anymore because there's a
I'm
lot
not
of us
bashing demigods.
I'm demigods. As we rely on a dentist. I rely on a dentist. Why can't I rely on a demigod sometimes?
I'm not.
Oh Lord, God will fix my teeth. No, I go to the dentist.
Why do you have to see it as bashing? I wasn't saying that. All I was saying was, in these books is something specific being illustrated that wasn't illustrated before. That's all I'm saying, Raghunath.
Okay, all right.
No one's bashing.
I think I'm
anyone.
Sensitive for the in
Shani.
defense of,
I know your Shani devotion is like very important to you.
You know what? In speaking to a few people, a lot of people around yesterday worshipped Shani on Saturday. Damodar Priya worship
Really?
Shani.
Okay.
Who else worship Shani? Somebody else told me to worship Shani.
Raghunath, why you were running here and there? It's all there in little sweet baby.
It's
Krishna.
all.
That's
Why go to the dentist? Why go to the dentist?
You don't have to if I don't think Prithu is going to the dentist, because he's invested himself fully in Lord Vishnu. He doesn't even have to, Raghunath. Have faith.
Use God's resources
Oh, now you're just using
that He get to assist you on your path to God.
Okay. All right.
All right. There's many paths, everybody. Okay, let's continuing on here.
What verse are we on? I think it was 21 now.
Yeah.
He did not depart, right? He stuck around because he was moved, right?
Oh, okay. That's where we were. Okay, 21. The original king, the OG king, Maharaja Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He's just like overwhelmed with joy, right?
He's crying, his voice.
What is the difference between the tears? It says this in the Vedas.
Hot and cold tears?
The hot tears and cold tears. What is that? Who knows?
I think hot is in I already got it started. Should I?
Wait, Priyaji knows this. What? Cold tears when you're happy.
Yeah.
Hot tears when you're sad.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't
Tears
it?
of separation. Yeah.
Interesting. He simply embraced the Lord with his heart
Interesting.
and remained standing in that way with folded hands.
He's embracing within the heart.
Imagine that. He's leaving. Lord Vishnu's leaving. He's losing it. He's crying.
Beautiful.
Okay. Continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
Garuda's like ready to go. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hands on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus, the king offered the following prayers. This is going to be good.
Yeah, here we go. The whole thing's been framed for these prayers now. Now we're going to see the heart of a bhakti yogi. Right?
You also learn how to pray. You know what I mean? Do you ever go in? I remember for years and years, like just going in front of the deities and just like, what do I say here? Oh God, I love you.
You look really nice today.
I love you. Love me. I'll be good. What do you say in front of the deities? Well, he's going to teach you right here.
Okay.
This is like the mood. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities, bewildered by the gunas, right? The three modes of material nature. Such benedictions are automatically available. Even in the lives of living entities suffering from hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, right? That's one of the benedictions he can give, where you merge the soul into God's body, right? We merging with the light. But I do not wish to have such a benediction.
So he's, and this is throughout the Bhagavatam again and again and again. You're going to hear, I'm not interested in the things of this world. I'm also not mentioning here merging into your existence, or I'm not interested in mukti, right? I'm not interested in losing my own sense of identity and merging into the oneness and all of my suffering disappearing. I'm not interested in that either, my moksha, mukti.
I wonder what that feels like, though. You know?
It must feel like the most intense relief that one has ever felt.
Like you can't even I'm merged. It's so good.
I tell you, Raghunath, the day that you're on that Vaikuntha airplane rising up, it's going to be like the heavenly planets. And then if you manage to get past that, you're going to be like, but what is mukti like, guys? Come on, tell me. Like these four-armed beings are going to be looking at like, are you sure you want
me
it?
off the plane.
But
it must be like great. I'm not saying like pure devotional service, Vaikuntha. I'm sure that's the best, of course. I stand for bhakti, but I'm just saying merging must feel so good too.
Well, let's think about it like this. It's that merging, like imagine feeling any sense of, I always use the example of like when you have your head dunked underwater and then when they let you out of the water, it's like such a huge relief. Like if someone's holding your head under the water and you're just,
I don't know if that analogy is good for merging.
Well, why don't you hold on and let me say the whole thing?
That's the analogy for sense gratification. It's a cessation.
No. Raghunath, hear me out. Okay, don't go jump into conclusions here. All right, stay with me. Ready? So like when someone's holding your head under the water, your mind is just full of anxiety, right?
You must have had an older brother also.
I didn't have an older brother, but it did happen to me, and just pure anxiety, right? The mind is just purely, and then when you're let out, all that anxiety is relieved. And when you take a breath, it's like, oh, the relief is just like, oh, all the suffering's over now. What a tremendous relief, right?
Yeah.
And that moment is very profound feeling. It's like, that's exactly what I needed. And now I got it.
Except it lasts,
well, that's
thousands
the point.
and thousands of years.
It's
in the big yes. In the big picture.
Okay, so now you want to, So what I'm saying is mukti is like that. Of course, it's like multiplied because it's like, who knows how many lifetimes of suffering and anxiety we've been, and then it's entirely relieved, and it feels like intense bliss. It just must be like it's hard to imagine. We can't imagine what that feeling is.
All right, I'm going to give my analogy. Well,
hold on. I'm not done yet. Hold on. This is the point I want to make. You ready? But it's said that ecstasy of moksha, right? You're not. It's really hard having a conversation.
My analogy's good. You're gonna like it.
I'm sure I will. It seems like you're very desperate to share it. So why don't you go ahead and we'll finish my thing later.
No, you tell me. You exhaust your analogy.
Okay, I'm not exhaust my. So my point is that it's said that that ecstasy, which we can't even imagine, the ecstasy of moksha, right, or mukti, is considered incredibly insignificant, like a drop of water to the ocean of the ecstasy of the nectar of devotion, right? The ecstasy which is Prithu's feeling right now. He can't even speak. He's in so much ecstasy, right?
Right.
Tears are just pouring from his eyes. He can hardly control himself. That feeling, it makes the ecstasy of moksha just seem totally insignificant.
That is a very good analogy.
Okay. Now let's hear yours.
Here's mine.
Here's mine. It's been better than the one
All right,
found
so
in
the-
the Shastras given by the great acharyas.
I think the great acharyas might have used this analogy too.
Okay.
By the way, there is a type of thing. For example, the material world is filled with all these, imagine you're at home play and they're throwing balls at you. You're getting hit in the arm, hit in the leg, hit in the head, and then you get that material
What
world
kind
is
of game? Dodgeball? Are you playing there?
I'm just saying the material world is filled with sinkholes, glue traps, etc.
This analogy is all over the place.
No, this
so
isn't
far.
the analogy. I haven't got the analogy. Here's the
Okay.
analogy.
All right.
And we understand like Mukti must be like, ah. Okay, imagine this. Imagine Raghunath with all the kids from Zoom. You got Nitai Lieberman, you got Karuna, you got Samantha Barrier's kids, you got all the little children
Montgomery.
that listen to the show. And try to picture yourself, Kaustubha, Mara, hear me out here.
With all those kids.
You're a little kid and your parents pull up to a water park. Then there's that feeling of like, we're going to a water park and it's a hot summer day. Every kid, I mean, it's hard to even picture yourself like this because when you were little, this was the highest type of joy. Not even a regular amusement park, a water park. And it's a beautiful sunny day. There's so much joy. Let me tell you what happened to me once. I did a yoga festival in Jakarta. Jakarta.
Okay.
And it was at a water park.
Okay.
And I was like, and they were like, yeah, well, there's a water park here. You can use the facility all day long yourself. I was like, you're freaking kidding. I can use the water park? This is incredible. I got my own water park. And there was no lines because the yoga place rented the whole damn thing out. And I was like, oh my God, it's my own water park. This is incredible. It's my own water park. No lines, all the rides. But I was alone. It's just not fun alone. I was like, this is great. I'm going down the water slide with the hands like a mummy. And it's like two rides or three rides. And I was like, my kids aren't here. I'm bored. I don't know any of these other yoga teachers. It seems sort of weird if I say you want to go on a slide with me, And it just wasn't the same. So the ecstasy is there. It's free water park. It's a hot summer day. You're in Indonesia somewhere. It just the jiva gets lonely. Even in ecstasy, the jiva gets lonely. And that's what pure devotional service is. It is interpersonal relationships with source. What do you think about that?
Well, okay, I think that's a great
Water
analogy,
park
Raghunath.
analogy.
Water park analogy. Now I have a question for you.
I want to hear Braj Bihari's take on that.
I have a question.
Can we
for you.
unmute him for a second? Is he still
let's
here?
bring in Braj Bihari. Is he here?
Is he here?
Brian
Mara?
Block?
Yeah.
Brian Block. Brian Block. If people don't know Braj Bihari, he's our go-to pundit.
He's a
Also.
Brahmin pundit.
My take on water parks?
Oh my God, he wasn't even listening.
He was reading the chat board.
He's like, I can't believe the one day I was spaced out.
Yes.
Anything-
How can I? Anyway, yes. Relationships are everything. It's the root of bhakti is sadhu sangha. It says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the whole root of love is to associate with others. So I love your point about the leaves. Only as they connect with each other through the root. I think I've been using that in class like all week.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Well, I've got a I'm going to put you on
like
the
a
hot
Greek.
seat.
You're like a Greek borrowing stuff there from. No, you take that analogy and run with it, Braj Bihari. I learned everything from you.
But I got a question.
What?
So here we're hearing that the soul gets lonely, right? Even if it's attained mukti. But isn't it? Don't we hear that by nature? Like we talk about being atmarama, being self-satisfied, right? Not needing anything. Isn't a relationship with another person an external thing? And isn't the soul atmarama on its own? It has its own bliss and doesn't need anything external. What about that?
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Braj Bihari. What about that?
What book is he reading?
I don't know.
All those books say that.
No, actually, right in the first canto, right? Atmaramas Chamunayo,
That's
and
right.
then Lord Chaitanya analyze it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But the real Atmarama we see throughout the whole Bhagavatam, and especially the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that everything is about association. You think, Raghu, would you have been happy, self-satisfied at Super Soul Farms this weekend by yourself?
No, I'd be
Just you and the
overwhelmed
tractor?
and crying. Just me driving in circles with the tractor.
Your little tractor.
No, yeah.
I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast is because they had some association with a person, a devotee, who had bhakti.
So is it that the nature of the self, in other words, we don't need anything external to be happy, but the nature of the self is to love another?
That sounds a little better, yeah.
It's even, greater than the greatest joy of having no pain, right? Because we all got some pain, mental pain, physical pain.
Oh, this is
greater
profound.
than that is interpersonal love with other souls and the supreme soul.
Oh,
And the best way to do it is what you guys are doing this weekend, is to serve together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best kind of association.
We all transcended. Transcended.
I thought you were about to say. This is what I thought you were about to say, Raghunath. I thought you would say greater than the highest ecstasy. What were you saying? You were just saying.
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Greater than the highest pleasure of relieving ourselves from all pain of the body and mind.
I thought you were going to say is even the pain of separation from spiritual separation like that, right? Anyway, whatever.
I don't know.
This is where my mind was
Raj
going. In other
Vihar.
words, the pain in devotion is more ecstatic than even the ecstasy of non-devotion. That was my point.
Braj Bihari's our classic phone a friend. We don't know this one. Let's phone a friend. You're our phone a friend guy.
Yeah, when he's around, he would be a good guy to keep on our. On our
Now he's got to
phone
be on his toes. He's like, I can't.
Okay.
Let's go in, get a cup of tea. They might call on me.
Do you know Sanskrit, Braj Bihari?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
We've always thought we needed a Sanskrit phone a friend.
You're not
on the show,
there.
too.
You're not our Sanskrit phone a
Be
friend.
philosophy. Yeah. All
right.
right. Thank you, Prabhu.
He's our devotional phone a friend. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Prabhu. Shall we continue?
We shall. So he's crying, and what was he saying?
Right,
He was
you-
saying, "Who wants a benediction?" You know, why don't we read that verse
Who
quick?
wants a
over again?
benediction? What is he, the ice cream man? Who wants a benediction here?
No, the other way. Who wants a like? Why would I want to take a material benediction from you? That's not what I'm interested in.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction emerging into your existence. A benediction benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million years.
Ah.
For thus, I'm got to be careful what you wish for. What have I done? What have I done? For thus, I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees.
Well, what verse does that remind you of?
I don't know.
Wanting to have millions of ears?
Millions of tongues. That one with millions.
Yeah. Do you know who wrote that verse?
King Kulashekar.
No.
No. Okay.
Rupa Goswami.
Oh yes. Okay.
There's this this may be my favorite chapter in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raghunath.
Tell
Have
me.
I ever shared this with you? I'm going to
Tell
share
me.
something from my heart to yours, okay?
Tell me.
That this, maybe from all the Prabhupada's books, my favorite chapter, if I had to pick one. It's hard to pick one. But if I had to pick one, it might be the first chapter of the Antya Leela of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the biography of Sri Chaitanya. The chapter, you know what the chapter begins with?
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda,
Right,
Jaya
does.
Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Usually something like that.
Yeah, but then it goes into the story of Shivananda Sain and the dog.
Oh, that's a great story.
Beautiful story.
Mystical dog.
Yeah, this dog.
Everyone needs a good dog, a spiritual dog story,
It
especially
starts
Kali
off
Yuga,
with a
because we
great
love
dog
dogs.
story.
Okay.
And then it goes into Rupa Goswami arrives in Jagannath Puri, right? And he stays in the hut with Haridas Thakur, right? And on the way, he's been writing his poetry, right? Beautiful poetry. And Sri Chaitanya, he hears about Rupa Goswami's poetry, and he comes and visits him. And he's saying, tell me about your poetry. I want to hear more about your poetry. right? And Rupa Goswami is like, he's so humble. Rupa Goswami is one of the most important saints and writers, on Bhakti Yoga. And so, but he was a young man. He had written this incredibly deep philosophical and spiritual poetry. And Sri Chaitanya's like, tell me, share something about the poetry. And, there are all these different, it wasn't just poetry, but it was like drama. Like he was writing these dramas. And there's all these different, in Sanskrit drama, there's all these different rules about how you open it, what kind of hero you can have, it's like, there's all these different, just rules to Sanskrit drama. So Sri Chaitanya was asking him questions like, what is like the opening verse and so on. And Haridas Thakur had heard one verse from Rupa Goswami, and he's like, tell him that verse, right? And it was a verse glorifying the names of Krishna.
I do not know how much nectar there are in those two syllables, Krishna. They have produced. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced.
That's right.
It appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of my ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of my heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. It makes you want to chant, doesn't it? Krishna. It makes you want to chant.
Well, when Rupa Goswami when Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur is called the Namacharya, right? He's like the great, this great representative and teacher of this type of meditation, meditating on the names. And so when he heard this, it said that he just started jumping up in the air, like. It's like when someone understands, when there's something that's very dear and special to you, and then someone else comes along and it's just as dear to them, there's a connection, right? And so when Haridas heard Rupa Goswami, he's like, that's exactly how I feel, It's like, and you know what I compare it to? Although it's a very weak, analogy in one sense, but, like sometimes, especially like women, when they're holding like a little baby.
Yeah.
And they're looking at that baby, right? And they say something like, it's just so cute and so adorable. It's just like they can't take it in enough. And sometimes they say like, oh, I just want to eat you. It's like, right? It's like just like
it's
looking
sort of
at
weird
you.
and witchy, isn't it?
I know, but they say it. Right?
Say anything else. Say anything else except that one. How about I want to kiss you? I want to snuggle you. I want to eat you.
Try to understand, though, Raghunath, the rasa that's going on. Right? It's just like, this isn't enough for my senses. My senses can't take it in enough. And so that's what Rupa Goswami was expressing. And this is a really yogic explanation that he's giving here too. When the holy name dances in the courtyard of my heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore the senses become inert. This kind of trance, that the Ashtanga yogis are trying to do through their 8-limb system, he's achieving that through chanting these names.
Mm-hmm.
So in any case, when I hear Prithu saying, I wish I had so many ears, I can't help but think of that verse.
I want to eat you up, Kaustubha.
Oh, no, here we go again. How do we get back in that zone, Raghunath?
Rolling down a hill.
Okay.
Pillow fights, embracing, rolling down a hill, blowing puffy dandelions in each other's face,
Text
unabashed,
25.
laughing.
Text 25.
Grabbing each other by the wrists, spinning each other around, laughing more. Ha, 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 ha. Whipped cream in your face. No, not whipped cream in your face.
Text 25,
Laughing.
please.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have any. Can we just read that? 24. Okay.
Text, my dear Lord, you are glorified.
All right. My computer's doing it. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. It's amazing. We don't even know what saffron is in our country.
Yes, people know what saffron is.
You do. You're a chef. No one uses saffron, Mara. How many people? I'd love to see a show of hands on the message board who uses saffron. Oh, Sarah Koritsky. Okay, everybody. All right, everybody. Monica Walsh uses saffron for
Vivi, Sarah.
No one does. They use onions. You guys are special. You're unique. No one's like putting, saffron on their hot dogs in America. My dear Lord, you're glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles.
Why?
How so? Huh?
How so? Let's hear about it.
when the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. This is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just a normal folk song when we're having kirtan. We are awakening what we actually are. The source is now connected to the jiva, and we become mystical beings, sorcerers. It's the uncovering process. It's the remembering process. That's why they say kirtan, the holy name, is not ordinary. It takes there's different mystical mantras of this world that can give you some benedictions or give some curses or give some healing or give some abundance. This is not that mantra. These type of mantras take you out of the body. They transcend the mind and the body. It wakes us up. Devotees us gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of human life.
Mm-hmm.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee.
That's the benediction that he asked for.
That's the benediction.
Right. So it's such an important, I think we should read some of the commentary to this, but here it's being described. What is the heart of the devotee? What do you want? What's in there? If I dig in there, what are we going to find? And he's reaching for some kind of analogy, to kind of, and he's come up with this saffron particles. I guess it doesn't even mean like the saffron, like threads, right? But like,
yeah, that's it. The saffron.
Well, I think
that
he's
the
maybe
stamen
some
of the
kind
flower, Mara.
Yeah,
it
it's a
is.
stamen.
It's the stamen.
Crocus, I think.
From a kind of crocus, yeah.
From a crocus.
Yeah, but
That's
maybe
what saffron's from? A crocus?
it's from a crocus.
Yeah, it's a flower stamen.
Special type of crocus.
But maybe even on that stamen, there's like even like a little like pollen or powder or dust kind of stuff, right?
Pollen?
Something like that, I don't know. I'm not expert at these things.
Okay.
But and of course the saffron has this very subtle, sublime kind of flavor, right? And
Very
so
subtle.
when the breeze is blowing those saffron particles around, this kind of very subtle, beautiful, aroma is passing through the air. And so he's saying that when it's kind of like when a devotee of Krishna speaks, a pure devotee, someone whose heart isn't all caught up in all of the kind of stuff that most people are caught up in, right? It's not. It hasn't been watered down or corrupted by all the desires and the illusions of this world. So when that person speaks, it's like this dust is like, this kind of sublime, subtle element is like floating out of their mouths, right?
I'm just trying to live it like what it must be like.
And then if you're downwind from that, it hits you and you experience it. It's the greatest ecstasy.
Downwind from spiritual information.
And so he's saying all of the things of this world to me are insignificant compared to that. When that stuff hits you, you wake up to your eternal relationship, to the real you, and you experience an ecstasy that's way beyond moksha. It's way beyond anything else in this world. So if you can give, I'm not even asking for moksha, right? I'm not even, like, it would be one thing if he said, you know what, I need a new palace. Like another king's got a bigger one. I want one that blows his away, That would have been like, oh, how disappointing. Like he wanted something totally materialistic. And if he would have said, I simply want to merge into the oneness, and like people might have been like, oh yeah, okay. Like, but all of that seems insignificant to hearing from the mouths of Krishna's devotees. The experience, the experience of reestablishing the eternal relationship that one has with that divine source is way beyond everything. So Prabhupada writes a nice commentary here. You want to read it, Rabbi?
It's 7 o'clock. It's 7:01.
Oh, 7 o'clock. Okay.
7:01. It's got a good. I mean, I got hijacked by Downwind. I was like, that's a good band name, Downwind.
Downwind.
And then
Okay.
we're Heart of a Devotee. Is Heart of a Devotee a good name for a band, or is it too?
Heart of a Devotee?
We're Heart of a Devotee.
Krishna
It's sort of
core
like
band.
a Christian rock band.
Okay.
We're
So
Heart
we'll
of a Devotee.
We'll read the commentary tomorrow. We're dust particles.
We're Stamen. Stamen's sort of like a
We're
90s.
Was Crocus a
Crocus.
band? Wasn't there
Crocus
a
might have been a
band?
band.
Yeah, I think
Crocus
it
was a band. We're Stamen. Stamen from.
There was a band called the Dust Brothers or something like that, right? There was a band called
Yes.
the Dust
Yes,
Brothers?
there was. Yes, there was.
Okay.
Stamen. It wouldn't work.
All right. We'll read the commentary tomorrow.
Okay.
As we continue Greek week here on Wisdom of the Sages.
Yes, squeak, squeak. Okay. Mara.
Yeah.
Speak in words of wisdom. Let it be. Mara.
All right. Takeaways. It's just as easy to get swept away by success as misfortune. Kaustubha?
trying to line up the music.
I thought you got YouTube.
Subscription.
No, it wasn't even that. Like I
YouTube
just touched
Deluxe.
the wrong thing, and we're hearing something from Bertrand Russell.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
at least that's what's coming up on
Maybe that's what we're meant to be hearing.
Do big things in the name of service.
Do big things in the name of service.
Maybe.
Are we talking about that today?
Maybe.
Yeah. Use God's resources on the path to God.
Okay.
The real
There you go again.
Boring. It's wonderful.
the real love is between us and Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
Send me a higher love. Oh, oh.
Let's see. Relationships are everything.
Yeah.
Let's love with a capital L.
Thank you.
Love with a capital L. Let's love with a capital L. I like that.
We're awakening what we are.
We are awakening. That's a song.
Serving together is the best association.
Mm-hmm. That was from Brother Bihari Prabhu.
That was from Braj Bihari. Serving together is the best association.
Yeah.
Because serving together is the best association of it all.
Matt Godden said boring. That was a direct quote from you, Raghu.
I'm a little boring. All right, what else?
All right. No demigod bashing allowed.
I'm with
No,
you there.
why
One must
go
respect the
there?
demons. I was not
Go
doing
there.
that, Raghunath.
To consider the name, yeah. I'm not considering the names of the demigods to be equal to or independent of Lord Vishnu.
But also, it's mentioned there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that one has to be very respectful to all the devas.
There you go. That's what I'm doing. I'm just following Rupa Goswami.
You're worshiping them for
Waterpark.
material benefit.
Water parks aren't fun alone.
They're not. They're not. I've tried. Been there, done that.
And
Can you imagine me walking around the water park alone? How sad is that?
Climbing up the stairs.
Climbing up the stairs. I got a tube.
Down
It should
to
be
the
fun.
bottom.
I'm screaming, yelling. Where's Kaustubha? Waiting at
And-
the bottom, splashing people I don't know. Hey!
I don't know if I'm ever going to go to a water park with you, Raghunath. Okay.
Sharing a cotton candy.
And the last one.
Be grateful for little tractors.
Oh, okay. Even the little tractors. That one hurt. I can see that one went deep.
Little boy
Raghunath's
tractor.
tractor was insulted.
Oh, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for live here. Woo, woo, woo. And thanks for all the little kids who are going to go to the water park with me. Well,
I don't
that
think
was
I've
the
ever been
highest
to a
ecstasy,
water
wasn't it? You remember pulling in, your parents pulling
I've never been to one.
Six Flags, and you're like,
Kaustubha's never been to a water park.
I've never been to a water
Kaustubha's
park.
never been to a water park. Let's go, man. It'll be fun.
I'm not going to water park with you,
and me
Raghunath. I'm
share a
sorry.
tube. We'll share a tube.
I'll go with anyone else.
Scream out of fear and joy.
Splashing,
Splashing.
frolicking.
Spinning around, laughing together unabashedly. Get to the bottom, go to the concession stand, share one of those double scoops.